Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cosmic Metamorphosis. My name is Kat. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully, my family, my soul tribe, I hope all of you have been doing well. I know it's been very hard, very tough, just waiting on things, major things to happen. Lots of other things going on behind the scenes. My new job is going very well. I love everyone I work with. They're all very nice. A couple of them are very shy. But I do enjoy my new job very much. So, like last week, I was talking about having that overwhelming feeling, like everything was just coming at me all at once. It's starting to subside a little bit right now, hopefully. I'll tell you, it was just crazy last week. Those energies were insane. I also had my nose has been bleeding like nonstop for like a week now with all this energy, this thick, heavy energy coming in. So I've had nosebleeds pretty much every day. Anyway, so today we're going to jump right into it because I've got to get this out to you. There's a lot of good information today from Alex Collier's last webinar from April 15th of 2022. Today is the 25th. So I'm kind of behind one just because I haven't had time. I'm so sorry. So anyway, let's get into it. So this is from his number 155 webinar from the brighteon.com channel. And he says, is it getting weird yet? Good Lord. He says, there's a lot to talk about and I want to simplify in language. And I want to simplify who I'm talking about, he says. Okay, so when I refer to the cabal, I'm referring to the deep state, the medical mafia, and the central banking system, the corporate cabal, the powers that were, the dark side of the force. He says, when I'm referring to the alliance, what I'm referring to is not only Space Force and the star nations, the benevolent star nations that are here, but also the white hats, all right? He says, just to simplify in terms, and we're at this point where there is enough division in the two frequencies that if your IQ is above 10, you can see this. And I've talked about this before. For me, I felt like a while ago, just being around people of lower frequencies. Like I said, there's going to come a time, and it's getting harder and harder to be around these people, and it's harder for them to be around you because, people who are awake and have a higher frequency than those who have a lower frequency, it's almost painful. It's very painful to be in public and to be around these people who, they don't understand you at all, because they're still asleep. And yet we're the ones going, I don't understand you. I don't understand why you're not awake, why you don't see what's going on in the world. So it's just, I feel like every week as these energies keep getting stronger, it just keeps getting more intense. And I almost feel like I just want to be locked away. I feel like I want to go hide somewhere away from people like that. But like I said, my new job's a lot better. My last job was just, people were fake. They weren't who they were. They put on a persona, and it was all about the ego. So thank God I'm out of there. I feel so much better. Anyway, Alex says, now, For those of you here for the first time, we welcome you. He says, we're pretty bare bones here. I want to share something with you. He says there was a video put up on Knights of Terra, and I'm still trying to find where this is because I can't find it on Telegram. I can't find it on any like social media. So if someone knows where to find this Knights of Terra, let me know in my email below. So a video was put up on Knights of Terra, and it deals with the 3 days of darkness and the transition from third density into fourth density. It's called the 3 days of darkness, the great shift. He says, I think it's exceptional. He says the information is really, really good, and it sounds very solid, and it makes sense. He says it's worth a see. It will help calm and give everyone a perspective on what this will look like or what it could look like. I found one called that, and if it's the one he's talking about, I'll try and remember to post a link below, but it's actually the same one I did like a year ago. I had a video about the 3 days of darkness, and it was read off The Great Shift from Collier'S, which is the book I have. So it's basically the same information that I read in my video. So yeah, it just tells about some of the physical things that may happen to us if we do go through this time and what to expect. So if you haven't watched my video, go back and watch that one. Let's see, he says, now, when the Alliance presents information, the information comes from a frequency that empowers. He says, when the cabal or the dark side gives you information, it comes from a frequency of generating fear. And we have to really begin to look at things on a frequency level. And I'm not the only one saying this, although I've been saying this for over 30 years, he says. Everything is color, light, and sound. It's frequency. There are many people now sharing that perspective as well. And that's how we have to look at this now, because we're going through dimensional shifts. What we're dealing with is frequencies. And the more you can train yourself and the more you can observe frequency, the more empowered you'll be. And the more you will see shifting and changing in the world around us. I watched a video the other day with Mark Atwood, and he has a word called, he says the apocalyptimist. I thought that was cute. I was like, oh, I love that word, apocalyptimist. So we're optimists, but we're revealing the truth, huh? So anyway, he says this is really, really important, because as we get to the end of this movie, this drama that's being played out in front of us, and you recognize the differences in the frequencies, you'll know to pay attention to those frequencies that are high and not those that are low. And you don't want to go low because they're feeding off that fear. And they always have. And this is all they know. They can't generate a high frequency because that's not who they are. They can't even mimic it anymore because they themselves are in fear. They're not just generating the fear, they are in fear because their shit's being exposed. They're being outed by themselves. Okay, he says. So you want to pay attention to frequency, to resonance. And your body knows, your higher self knows, your soul knows, because it comes from a higher frequency. It recognizes the bandwidth that we're dealing with. So if you do that, we're going to be good. It's not to say that we're not going to have some bumps, you know, and we're going to be like, oh God. And he laughs. Oh God, we're going to have those moments, but you won't get stuck there at all. It'll be an acknowledgement that something odd or weird, strange or something nefarious has occurred, that someone else has done something to harm humanity, our brethren, and it will be an acknowledgement of, oh God, what can I do to help? But we won't get stuck there, and we have to keep moving to higher ground. That's the plan. That's the goal. That is the mission. It is your mission. If you're watching this, it's your mission, okay? To continually move to higher ground, he says. And I've said before in my past videos, you're going to hit that point as you awaken and your frequency rises. You will know the truth and you will know who's lying to you, okay? I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty good around people. That's why I had to leave my last job, because there was a person there that was really, really toxic and I just could not stay. Okay. I don't like to be around fake people. I'm a very down-to-earth, humble person. I am open. I have no problem with anything. Okay. Unless you're hurting someone. So I can tell if someone is lying to me. I can I can read them. So you get to know if you're awake, and you probably know who's watching this. You can feel it. You can feel that frequency. You know if they're not a true, genuine person. You know if they're a bad person. You read their energy. So Alex says, and the more of us who blaze those trails, the more of those behind us who we know are just waking up will see you moving to higher ground, and they will follow you. That's the goal. And I'll address that a little more towards the end here when I address the white hats directly. He says, I'm aware of the information coming out and being spread regarding the snake venom. I have to tell you, I'm quite literally on the fence with it all, he said. I've been aware of the poisoning in vaccines for quite some time, which is why I don't participate. My children don't participate. And if anyone would ask me, I would say, stay away from it. I've known for quite some time that the FDA was not testing vaccines for safety. That, of course, came out officially in court documents, thanks to Robert Kennedy Jr. and those involved with him. The FDA has not tested any vaccines in 32 years for safety. They have only taken the word of the pharma companies on their safety. And it made me think, and people don't think about this, but it's like, okay, we have these bodies that are supposed to heal ourselves, or at least be helped with herbals, okay, holistics and frequencies like clear sound healing. When you look at, okay, you have a snake or you have a spider, they have fangs, okay? They inject you. They inject you with poison, okay? And somehow we're allowing something to be injected, a poison, into us. Like, it just, people don't think about that. Venom, poison's not supposed to be in you. It's injected. And this is what they've been doing to us for 100 years or more. It's not what we're supposed to be doing. He says, not to mention that they've been taking bribes, okay, and payoffs in order to go along with the program. So that information is out there, and we will address that in depth here shortly, he says. But it's interesting, there was no kufu, I'm going to say, that it's never been isolated, and that these strains they keep trying to hype us on cannot be tested for. So it's interesting that that information is coming out, and then there's a distraction about snake venom. There's people saying they want to do this or they want to do that to us, and they're trying to give us reptilian DNA, etc. He says, ladies and gentlemen, some of us have been trying to tell you for years and years about how they wanted to alter our DNA. Says this shouldn't be a surprise to you if you've been following the A's, who are the Andromedans, information, or the others who've been sharing this information. You know, when you're genetic royalty, everyone wants a piece of it, especially if you're not. If you have the ability to create physicality and hold extreme bandwidths of emotion and compassion, love and frequency like this, and you're a being that has to mimic, copy, and your bandwidth is this big, he says, you're going to upgrade or try to upgrade to at least what they have. Let me let Amber in. My little video kitty. My video kitty. Okay. He says, but you know, nature is nature, and the rules and the boundaries set by Creator, by Great Spirit, by Source, by God are what they are. And essentially, it is what it is. Now the time has come to see things for what they are. Now, regarding the guardians of the looking glass information, he says, ladies and gentlemen, I'm simply not buying it. He says, if they were truly the guardians, why would they come out with this information now? Why wasn't it coming out years ago? Why is it coming out now and it's generating fear, and they want it to generate fear? Now, if you're in the alliance, then you know all about this and you're in control of the looking glass. He says, we also know at some time the CIA, or he calls them clowns in action, excuse me, we're in charge of this. I think you need to match the frequency of the message to CIA, and you will find they're on a very, very similar frequency, he says. The Alliance already knows about this, if it's even true. He says, I'm sure things have been positioned, even if it's true, to make sure it doesn't occur. To say if this happens or that happens, then the outcome is dark and humanity isn't going to recover and we're destined to be slaves, he says, is just fucking bullshit. It's absolutely just is bullshit. When he talked about that looking glass, it reminded me again, I've brought up the movie, even though it's Disney, they tell you the truth in your face. Tomorrowland. Watch that if you haven't. There's a scene after they get into the other dimension where it's controlled by what I call the moon, or the satellite that controls all the fear, like shooting at Earth, all the negative thoughts. And there's a platform she gets on, and it's a globe, and she puts her hands on it, and you're able to go like back and forth in time anywhere in the world. It just reminded me of that movie. There is so much in that movie. It is incredible. Okay. She said, he says, we're the ones creating the reality. They're the ones trying to sell us all the horse shit to keep us voluntarily in slavery, and it isn't going to happen. We're all done with this. We're all done with this crap. I know I'm done with this. Are you done with this? Because I'm done with this crap. I'm ready to move on, okay? I want my party with my family, okay? He says, because we see it now. We see what they have been doing. We understand fully that we've been a source of food and energy for these beings, and we're done. We're done with it, he said. So we have to pay attention to the frequencies. Now, they're obviously in a lot of trouble. They're obviously grasping at straws. They're obviously taking that which is white hats information and alliance and trying to spin it into something fearful and dark. This is actually a really good sign that they are losing and they're about done. Now they keep going forward with their ultimate plan, which was the Great Reset and the enslavement of humanity, and of course, genocide of 90% of humanity. He says that's their plan. They've told us this for years and nobody paid attention because no one thought they were serious. Now they know that they are. Okay, he said, now you know they weren't kidding. He says, now, you know what the sides are, so you have to pick one. And it shouldn't be too difficult, really. It shouldn't be too difficult to make a choice of what kind of future you want. One, you know, the dark side, and we've been living under it. Control, manipulation, structures, where you are an indebted slave. Pharmacologically, putting poisons in your body, telling you it's for your own health and safety as humanity gets sicker and sicker and sicker. The food chain, which is owned by corporate conglomerates, all owned by the same people, is full of genetically modified things, so GMO, and is actually assisting in making everyone sicker and sicker because there's no nutrition in the food. Okay, he said, and GMOs, there's never been testing as to the long-term effects. However, the fact that humanity is getting sicker and sicker should tell you everything. Okay, it doesn't work, and the corporate food chain is poisoning humanity. And then you have the governments that are so far in debt that they have to go along with the owners. And the owners are, of course, the central banks, the central banking system that makes money out of thin air, loans it to us with interest, which we could never pay back. And without that, your entire government system collapses. And then they lose control of us. Yes, let's hope so, because they're bastards. It's all been rigged for quite some time. Now that we're waking up and there's countries that are saying, hey, we're done with this. And they're moving to a whole new financial system. Now all hell's breaking loose. So they're moving forward their agenda, pretending that they understand. Hey, we're still going to win this battle. We're still going to maintain this hold on humanity. We're going to own humanity. We're going to do the Great Reset. We're going to foreclose on the entire planet and no one will own anything. And at that point, we will just rent what you have back to you. That's what I say. Fuck you. I don't think so. Sorry, I'm on a rant today. And of course, the whole green thing is just horseshit. It's just another way to tax everyone out of their money, whatever's left. We know there's free energy, but they're not going to give it to us until they own everything, because then they can charge us for it. For the free energy, you see, that's the plan. And they will be charging us as they consistently genocide people off the planet. And they will start with the oldest, okay? Because we're not going to put up with this horseshit any longer. And they know it, and that's the plan. The children, they want the kids because they can raise them to be obedient slaves and to genetically modify them through the shots to become something other than human. And because of the fact that the laws on our books give patents, every single human being will be property of a corporation. and freedom will cease to exist. Any relevant part of freedom will cease to exist. That's your dark side. Let's be crystal clear about this. Crystal clear. That's your dark side. On the other hand, we have the Alliance, which is very, very quietly been working in the background, not showing its hand, just a couple of fingers on the hand. They've shown he's like this. So that the dark side, the cabal thinks, oh, we can do this, and continue with their program and exposing to everyone clearly who and what they are. Now, the next finger the Alliance is going to show the cabal is this one. He said, it's this one. This is the next finger to be shown, okay? He says, it's coming, it's imminent, frankly. Now, when this happens, when the next finger is shown, we all need to be crystal clear about what our role is. I've laid it out for you, the dark side and the structure of how they've been controlling and manipulating the planet. We need to be crystal clear about how those structures need to be completely dismantled, because by dismantling all these structures, we will find the rats, we will find the traitors, we will find all will be exposed. Do you understand? Nobody gets to hide anymore. No way. So these structures have to be torn down. The exciting part for us and the unsettling part for us, for those of us on the light side, is that we have to start over. We have to rebuild, recreate structures that actually serve and work for humanity. And that's going to involve us taking back our power, number one. Number two, exercising our voice. And number three, literally talking to each other about what it is that we actually want and clarify what it is we actually want, or clarify what I actually want. And then together building these structures. Now we, the people, have to do this ourselves, not the military. They have a purpose, but within that military, there is a structure that they're built on. That structure is limited. He says, we, the people, have to put this together. We have to build the infrastructure. We have to create the vision for what we want. We will be getting input from the White Hats or Alliance on the planet and off the planet. Input. But no one other than ourselves should build this. It should and has to be us, because we have to take ownership of it. And if we take ownership of it, it will be done right and it will serve its purpose, because we will be using it and testing it ourselves and building it for future generations, whatever those structures are, okay? He says, and it's all of it. The monetary system, you have to understand that this is moving into the quantum financial system. This is a temporary, this is not meant to be a 1,000-year monetary system. There will come a point, ladies and gentlemen, where we will disband a monetary system once it is that we know what we want and how to get there, and receive input from star nations that live without a monetary system. And we learn how that works. It will come, but we are in transition. We're going to step all over the shadows into transition into something completely new that we ourselves are creating. Now, can we do it? Absolutely. We're all multidimensional beings from 3rd to 11th density. It says, hell, there may be some 12th density here now. I'm not even sure. We can do this. We have the knowledge, We just have to tap into it. We have to figure out how to tap into that knowledge. We have a genetic memory. Again, we have to figure out how to tap into it. Those things will come as we continue to awaken and we continue to raise our frequency. We just have to be patient. We have to take things as they come, and we have to transition and move with the frequencies that are hitting the planet and being generated by humanity themselves. And understand that by being in the moment, what it is that's going on here. Now, getting stuck in fear and not being drawn back into the well of slavery. Can't do it anymore. It isn't going to serve you. And the people that manage that, well, they want to eliminate 90% of humanity. And they've been telling you that, and all of their actions show that. Why would you go back there? Because it's familiar? He said, fuck that. He says, Elena Denon said this, it's like being in an incredibly abusive relationship. Why would you go back to that? Why? You evolve out of it. You go towards what you want. You continuously move to higher ground. And in so doing, you disarm and you disempower those who have been abusive. We have to see this for what it is. Again, the word evolve comes up. And if you've watched my past videos, a lot of talk in this movement is about revolution. We don't want to revolve. People aren't understanding, they're understanding that revolve means basically a wheel. You're coming back around, you're coming out, but you're going back into it. We don't want revolution. We want evolution. We want to evolve up and out of the crap that we've been in, okay? So he says, so the monetary system is one thing. Now the rumor is that all they're waiting for is the country of Venezuela to get their shit together. That's the rumor. Let's hope it's true. Let's hope that they get their act together and that they can get onto the quantum financial system or whatever has to be resolved in that country. But understand that the BRICS nations, if you don't know what the BRICS nations are, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They are moving ahead, moving towards a completely different financial system, and they're not waiting on Australia, United States, or Canada, and a few little countries here and there. They're moving towards that. So the food situation, the food chain is being poisoned. There's genetically modified food everywhere. We need to go back to growing our own food locally. We need to figure out how to do it, how to work with farmers. We need to make sure we have the appropriate seeds to grow food and that we get rid of the GMO seeds and do everything we can to be able to grow foods that have nutrition in it. Organic, non-GMO, and it needs to happen soon, immediately, he said, because we have corrupt government paying farmers not to grow food or destroying their crops, knowing that the food supply is damaged, the delivery system is broken, which they did intentionally. They want you to starve so that they can use that as leverage to get you to surrender the rest of your liberties in their great reset so that you can become slaves. So you'll get the chip, the whole 9 yards, he says. When the alliance shows the next finger, we need to join them. We have to be on the same page, okay? We have to end this fucking shit show, he said. We just do. You need to put an end to it by taking away their power. Okay, I need a drink. Good. Get me on a rant. He says, the medical system, ladies and gentlemen, who is it that the FDA, the CDC, the who is it that they go after? They go after natural therapies, okay? Holistic practitioners. Obviously, that's the direction to go, is to get back to basics, get back to nature, use natural remedies that have been around for thousands of years, that have been proven. It's time to go back to that. And we just simply need to insist that it gets done and we do it. We just move in that direction and basically tell them to go kiss your ass. That's what has to happen. And that's what we need to do. Just opt out of their system because it's broke. And I've said this in my past videos. We need to go back to the indigenous ways. There's a prophecy, and one of those prophecies is a time when the white men basically seeks out the indigenous, the native ways. And a lot of people thought that was in the 60s with the hippie movement. And it might have been, but it didn't take. But I think we're going to hit that time again, and we're going to look towards the indigenous peoples to help teach us, or at least there's a very few people in the native ways that are sharing their cultures, or at least they're trying to train their own kids again and teach them ways, because a lot of them have lost it thanks to our government. There was a really good show it was a documentary on Amazon that I saw, and I think it was called Crave. I'm not sure. But it was about the indigenous Indians and how they're going back to the natural ways and the holistic. And there's a woman that, they work with this restaurant. It's the Navajo Nation, and they teach their people about the plants they can eat, the herbs, and how to cook with them. And it was a really good show. It was an hour, a little over an hour long. It was just really interesting to see that. So if I remember, I will try and put the link below, so maybe you guys can watch that, because I really got a lot out of that. But yeah, we have to go back to those holistic ways. Okay. He says, it's corrupt and it's hurting us all, and all of us across the board, it's hurting us, the way that they've been treating us. So he says, government, we have the finest that money can buy. End of story. And it isn't our money. We need to take it apart and replace it with something beneficial to humanity, and it will start in each of our own countries. He said, did you know in Canada, the truckers got what they wanted? Did you know about that? You didn't hear about that on the media, did you? No, of course not. They'll never tell you the truth because they're bought and paid for. Why anyone would watch or listen to CNN, MSNBC, CBS, all those stations, why do you even have an audience? Listen to your government, ladies and gentlemen. You need to listen to your government. You have intuition. When you hear a story on the news, what's your first emotional reaction to it? If it's fear, turn it off, he said. It's frequency. It's all about the frequency now, okay? There is a very clear, distinct separation occurring as we speak. Government, it's all broken. It's all paid for, it's all manipulated, and it's all self-serving, all of it. He says, and then we get to religions. Those of you who are awake already know. You already know. You go to source. You've got connection to source, to God, creator, the isness, great spirit. You've always got the connection to source. There is no middle management. There never has been. You just connect to source. And everyone's relationship to source is different. There is no one way, because if there was, it would have been corrupted. So what they did was they created structure and said, this is the only way you can go. And then it took them 1,000 years to sell it to you. Okay? To sell it to you. Those of us who have come back in time to right a terrible wrong, we have done all this before. You've done it before. Maybe not on the third density, but in other dimensions, which is why we were tasked and asked to come here at this particular time to do this type of work, because we've done it before. You know more than you realize. You have more power than you can possibly imagine. The wisdom all of you have is a gift to all of humanity. We just have to step into it. We have to remember that it's there. When one makes the decision to be independent, when one makes the decision to reclaim their own sovereignty, whether it's in a relationship, a marriage, a family, a corporate structure that you find yourself in, whatever that is, when you make a self-declaration to take back your sovereignty, you shift your energy and everything around you. Those things that are weak, those things that are not real will fall away. They will just go away because they cannot ever resonate to where you are. You are no longer a victim. You are now the authority. You are now the creation. You are now the authority in your life designating what's real, and that's what you create. And the only things that remain in your sphere is that which is real. Everything else immediately begins to fall away, and we have to let it go because it's not real. It's holding you back. If it's not real, it's holding you back. It's weakening you, and that might mean people in our lives. You can still love them from a distance. You can love them from a distance, but the mission is to go from third into fourth and then into fifth. That's the mission, to elevate humanity, the royal genetic bloodline of which we are. That's the mission, not to be food or a slave to anyone. You are special. All of you watching this, you are special, and we are here for a mission, okay? We are here for that very reason. Okay, he says, to the dark hats, to those of you who are trapped in your prison, there is some empathy off planet for the situation you find yourself in. We understand you were blackmailed, trapped, or you simply chose to use ego to acquire power, which has cost you everything. And now that you have families, you're doing everything you can to protect them. But you have to understand, if you continue down this path, you will take your families with you all the way down, and they will be impoverished, homeless, or they will be removed from the equation along with you. So you have a very difficult decision to make, and you have very, very little time to come to this epiphany, to this crossroad. Many of you already know this. Many of you have begun the process of picking a side, choosing higher ground, and you're doing it very carefully so you can protect your loved ones. Then there are those of you who haven't. You simply don't get it. You have no empathy, no compassion, because your entire persona which is your ego, which is being controlled and manipulated by an old AI, the old Orion AI system, you have completely detached yourself from humanity. All you do is see us as numbers on a ledger, as a resource for your power, for your sustenance. There will be no grieving for your collapse into complete and total darkness. And I'm not just talking darkness, okay? Where you're going, he says, it's fucking pitch black. It's pitch black. That's where you're going. He said, good luck to you. There's still time to do the right thing and protect your families and your loved ones. There's not a lot of time at all, because the minute the next finger is shown, it's over. It's over for you. And we're not just talking third dimension. This shift, this movement of force of light is third, fourth, fifth, and sixth density. It's all coming down on top of you. And you're going to go from this, he says, to this, he says. This little hole here, that's where you're going to be. In absolute pitch black darkness. And you've created that for yourself. And you have. So I've delivered the message, he says. He says, to the white hats, to the alliance. This is his plea. He says, guys, we love you. We know how difficult it's been all of these decades to have to sit back and observe how the darkness works, how they entrap, how the darkness enslaves, how the darkness steals the light and feeds and has fed off of humanity. We also know how brave you have been to put it all on the line, to do what you had to do to get to a position where all the resources were there for you to make your move and strike back at the darkness. You need our help. You need humanity's help. So I'm going to make these next few statements using the United States as an example. He says, now when I'm referring to movement of things that are occurring. This could apply to any country, but I'm going to use the United States because oh my gosh, see, I can't write my reading. I can't read my writing. I can't even talk today. It's just these energies. Okay. He says, I'm more familiar within the United States. It is time to let us know that what you are doing. It is time to allow us to be involved, fully involved in the actions that you're taking. It is time to bring us into the participation of these things that are occurring. And the reason for that is that we are the ones that are inheriting this. This generation, the generations to follow, we're inheriting this movement, this shift of not only consciousness, but the rebuilding of our entire order in which humanity will move forward into the future. We want the input of other star nations, the wisdom that they have in regards to move forward. But we're the ones that have to do this. We're the ones that have to build this. We're the ones that need to be boots on the ground, putting all this together, and this involves us actively participating. You have hundreds of thousands of grand jury indictments. Let us help round these guys up. And if you don't realize, one indictment could have 100 names on it. So that's a hell of a lot of people. Hell of a lot of people. He says, let us help. You have retired law enforcement, retired military, you have active duty, you have hunters, you have many people that are ready, willing, and able to assist you in rounding these people up. And because of the great generosity of FEMA, they built all the camps for all the civilizations, or civilians, sorry. They built all the camps for the civilians. You know, we're not going to do that. But we can take all these people that have been indicted and we can move them to these camps and we'll hold them there until you can find the judges to come in and start doing their thing. Let us help you. Let us start getting these people off the street. Let's break the system once and for all. Let's get it on. Let's move forward with all of this. We have to participate. We have to take ownership of this, guys. You have done remarkably well in protecting humanity as much as you can. It's now time for us to become active participants on protecting ourselves and into knowing exactly where we are in all of this. This could be said for all the other countries. Our food supply, we need to be actively participating in the creation of food, and on a local level, we can sustain ourselves. The elimination of the cabal and those traitors of humanity is important and is necessary so they cannot continue to harm us in order to protect their sins, okay? Their sins are their sins. Everything you have done is greatly appreciated, and I know we don't even know the half of it. We need to be told about the kids. We need to be told about what's going on with the CPS, Child Protective Services. We need to be told what's going on at the border with children vanishing and still disappearing. We need to be told exactly what's been going on so that we can be active in protecting these kids, these future generations. We need to know you're breaking the supply line. This has to happen. We have to take responsibility for each other. We have to have each other's back. This can no longer be in the realm of rumor. We have to know. It's time to share this with us. We want to know. We are sick and tired of sitting on the G, waiting on the O. And I'm not alone in this, he says. We're already retired law enforcement, military, veterans, Americans. We're all done. We're ready to go to protect our nation, protect our children, to protect each other. We're ready to go. Don't keep excluding us. Because if we decide to move without you and move around you, there's going to be a problem, and I know you know this. We are billions, they are just millions. We are billions, he said. We know about the tech. We know that they have shit. We know the shit they've been doing, and it's pitch black. We know this, which is totally why this is all going to circle back to the top of them. We know about human trafficking off-world. We know. Let's end this, guys. Let's end this. Empower humanity to help you. We're all sick and tired of being victims. We are billions, he said. He says in July, the second week in July, which is actually July 7th through the 10th, Alex says he's going to be in Mount Shasta. There's a website called thepromiserevealed.net. This will be the last time, he says, I will be on the, I think he said left coast, because it's the west coast, and I think he calls it the left coast. As a speaker, my mission is coming to an end, he says, to the beginning of 2023. Okay, my mission will be done, but there will be many others that are here now and coming forward. Most of them are goddesses, the feminine principle that is stepping up to help us maintain the balance. The masculine energy, which has been extremely destructive because it's been out of balance. The masculine has to take a step back and protect and be the guardians, the responsible partners of the feminine principle. It's time for the feminine principle to step up and stop being suppressed to show us balance. And it's just what it is. It's just what it is, he said. The promise revealed will have Laura Eisenhower, goddess, he said. Vivian Chauvet, she's an Arcturian contactee, goddess, he said. Rob Potter, he's the one that puts that on. Brad Olson, Brooks Agnew, and many others. I don't know. He says, it's always a great event and a really, really beautiful place. I really love Mount Shasta, he says, but this will be the last time I will be a speaker on the West Coast. I have another speaking engagement in October in Florida, but that's the last time I will be a speaker on the East Coast. Okay, just to give you a heads up. I went to Mount Shasta when I was 12. I think I was 11 or 12 with my best friend and her and my mom. And we took a ride up to Mount Shasta. We took the bus tour up the mountain. I don't remember too much of it. I just remember her mom telling us at the time that there were people that lived in the mountain. So I was just so intrigued with it. So yeah, it's a very beautiful place. I've been at this a long time, and the last thing I want to do is overstay my time, he said. I was a bridge, he said, to get us from the 90s to 2022. Your new speakers, they're remarkable, he says. They're up and coming. The women contactees coming forward are absolutely remarkable. You're in very, very good hands. He says, don't be surprised if some of the first extraterrestrials that we meet are women. Do not be surprised if that's who comes forward first. They know their shit, he said. They really do. That's not to say all the male energy is going away. That's not the case at all. But there has to be balance, and there hasn't been for a very long time. The earth herself carries a feminine principle, and she needs a responsible partner, and that's us, the male energy. So we have to shift our relationships and how we look at them to move forward. He says, guys, we're going to be okay. There will be moments where we're not sure, where we're feeling awkward because we don't know exactly what we need to do because it's unknown territory to us Terrans. But those of us who are knights from other realms, other dimensions, who have been here assisting and serving humanity in a benevolent way, we're all knights. We're the new order to assist and protect humanity. Okay. And then there's a few questions I'm going to try and read really quickly too. Our time is coming, he said. It is here. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in Creator, in God, and learn to have faith in each other. And that trust will continue to grow and has nowhere else to go but up. Okay. Pay attention to frequency. Pay attention to events, information that's being shared. Feel the frequency of it, okay? They can't fake that shit. They just can't do it. The dark side cannot fake it. Okay, that's all I have. Okay. First question. Someone asked, has Mornay updated you on where humanity is now as far as becoming aware and awake? His answer is yeah. We're at 73%. 73% of humanity is awake now. What was Juan was even saying? Like we needed, I think at first it was like somewhere over 50, maybe 60%, and then it went to like 80 some percent. But you like, we are there. We are there, guys. We're there. We gotta take this back. Second question, is there anything regarding the moon at the moment because it's appearing in different positions in the sky on a nightly basis and has even moved positions the same night? A lot of people have been reporting strange things with the moon. I woke up the other morning at like 4 a.m. I look out my window and the moon is like right in the, like my window faces east. So it was literally kind of southeast, and where it shouldn't have been, it should have been by that time way in the west, going down. But it was, yeah, strange things have been going on in the moon. And just like I've said in my past videos about women's periods being off, and it's not just because like I'm older, and it's not that I'm going through like premenopausal things, but it's like younger women. Even my daughter has issues with it not being, consistent. So things are going on. And his answer to that was, yes, ma'am, it does. And that's being orchestrated by the Alliance. And they are hoping that people on the surface are paying attention. I told you what the A's said a long time ago, that it was going to be removed because of what it represents and what it has been about. What? Yeah, I was right. When that moment is, I don't know. He says, but first you have to create awareness. We have to create awareness, and that's being done by having it jump around in the sky. Most people don't look up. They don't look up because they're just too busy looking at their goddamn phones. He says, and that's their world, is their cell phone. I've noticed that changes with the moon for years now, years that something was up. So for him to validate that was, thank you. And then he wanted to share something. So in between the questions, he says, years and years ago, I shared with you about a gray mothership that had been captured. He says, and on it, there were souls that had been captured in containers. It was many, many years ago. Those same containers or containers like that have been found in a place underground on Earth. And one of the particular souls that's in these containers is Nikola Tesla. Oh my gosh. He says his soul is in one of these containers. There are very, very interesting things afoot here, ladies and gentlemen. He says, I just thought you would want to know that piece of information. He says, I was blown away when Mornay told me this. Absolutely blown away. And there are others, other souls in these containers. Wow, isn't that interesting? Okay, next question. Generally speaking, is it more likely that contactees and abductees do have negative blood, which is why there is less prevalence in the world, or does it matter? Does a specific blood type connect to stargates? And then his answer was, I don't think that's necessarily true. Children that have been grabbed and taken off world are from all different blood types. What they were after was the resonant frequency in the blood, which is the soul. Are specific blood types akin to different stargates or arcs? Because I've heard this, it's not the blood. There are different blood types, but it's the soul, you see. It's the soul that leaves the holograph. It's holographic imprint on the body in the blood. It's the soul. Do you understand? It's not just the blood. For those who have the ability to open the arcs, he says, well, they're old crew members. That's not just a blood thing, okay? That's a soul thing, a resonant frequency. The ships remember the frequency. It's all frequency, all of it. And if you've ever watched this, all about reptilians looking like humans, and this is the queen. What is she after? The soul. She wants the human soul. There's a lot of information in that one as well. Okay, last question, and I'm going to wrap this up because I got to take my cat to the vet for a checkup. Last question. When I'm falling off to sleep or in the process of waking, I often see many geometric shapes floating around. And then they all rush towards my head and my eyelids flicker constantly. They can last either a short or a long time. Is this a download? His answer to that was, yes, ma'am. That's exactly what it is. And that's exactly how it happens. At some point, that information you've been given will become relevant. It all has to do with timing, also resonance. When you own, with your own resonant frequency, when it hits a certain level, all of that information will just go boom, and there it is. And you will know it beyond a shadow of a doubt, and you'll be amazed of what you know, he says. And then you'll be doing webinars and question and answer webinars. And then he just laughed. So a lot of interesting information with that, guys. Yeah, if you have any questions, please email me below. I haven't been able to get in my email for a few weeks because I've been, like I said, transitioning from job to jobs and just kind of getting in the new flow of my new job. So I have an extra day off during the week. So I get 3 days off. I'm so excited. So much better for me. Thank you so much for watching this. Please share this with anybody you think might need to hear some of this information. Subscribe. Yeah, like I said, if you have questions, email me below. Thank you so much for watching. I love all of you. Just remember, basically, we're like lighthouses. So all of us who are awakened and we're shining our light and we're telling our truth, we are the lighthouses for those lost ships in the dark at sea. Okay, we shine our light so that they can find us. Okay, we are the way showers. And I love all of you. I want to give you all a great big hug. Thank you so much for watching. I do want to add some other videos to my channel. I'm planning to add some Max Spears information. He was a super soldier, and I think he had a lot of great information that people need to hear, especially now. So hopefully I can get those downloaded on here soon. So thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week and hold the line, stay positive. I know it's hard, but we're gonna make it and it's gonna be fabulous. Thank you so much. See you next time.